What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including AEW announces 3 video games, WWE wants back a recently fired superstar, the Bella Twins returning to the WWE, when Rey Mysterio will retire. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now our first story looks at AEW announcing 3 video games. Now after over a year of speculation, the wait is over and AEW fans now have a better idea what the company's plans are for its video game lineup. Last night they revealed 3 different games. The light-hearted press conference saw Kenny Omega, Aubrey Edwards, Dr. Britt Baker and Cody Rhodes channeling Steve Jobs to introduce various games, with Baker revealing she's also in charge of AEW Games' merchandise. Here's what to expect from all 3 games. The first one, AEW Wrestling Console game. As AEW is working with Yuke's and Hiromi Furuta, the man who designed the highly acclaimed No Mercy game for the N64. No word on when the console game will debut, but Kenny Omega noted it's being built for current and next-gen consoles. They also have an AEW Elite GM game. Now this game is for mobile devices and it allows fans to take on the role of GM, designing a roster of wrestlers, setting up matches and running the show to generate revenue, new fans and effects on wrestlers' stamina and morale. It's scheduled for release sometime in 2021. And finally, they also had a casino game called Double or Nothing. This game again is for mobile devices and it features AEW's branded versions of slots, blackjack, poker and roulette, along with AEW music, sounds, videos, wrestler virtual avatars, gift packs and more. The casino game is scheduled for a winter release, which seems soon but still uncertain. Now we like the idea of all 3 games. As for the console game itself, which is what we were hyped for the most, it's great to see that they're being partnered up with Yuke's and they're going to take some inspiration from WWF's No Mercy game for the N64 as well as Virtual Pro Wrestling. In fact, if you heard closely on last night's press conference, they did say the word WWF. Now I know, it's not exactly shocking, but it's still something that you'd never hear in AEW. As for how I feel about the console game, well, it looks alright. I'm not a fan of the cartoon aesthetic again, of larger-than-life wrestlers, as it's still a little Battlegrounds meets All-Stars aesthetic, but considering that this game is going to have inspiration from older games on the N64, I definitely have some faith in that they'll bring us a very entertaining game. As graphics aren't everything, it's all about the gameplay. I'm definitely hyped to see how gameplay will look. What did you think of the game's reveal? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WWE wants back this fired superstar. Now, the WWE released a slew of superstars on Black Wednesday in April, but it looks like it wants to bring back at least one, that individual being No Way Jose. Fightful Select is reporting that the WWE is interested in bringing back No Way Jose, who's been working on the indie scene as Levi Valnez. Fightful Select states it could not get a confirmation from the WWE as to whether No Way Jose is signed or is on his way back. Although if he does come back, they should pretty much drop that gimmick. It was going nowhere. Now, one of the more interesting aspects of this potential return is money. As you may recall, when the WWE released a number of NXT and developmental wrestlers, it was rumored that the company had offered to bring some back, but at greatly reduced pay rates. While the indie circuit is still slow due to the pandemic, No Way Jose may feel he's better off in the long run staying out of the WWE, particularly given his lack of a push in the company. Next up, WWE announces the 2020 tribute to the troops. Now, the pandemic has thrown the proverbial monkey wrench into many plans, but it's not going to stop the WWE from putting on its annual tribute to the troops show. The event, which started in 2003, features WWE superstars performing for members of the US military and often saw them traveling overseas to perform. WWE.com announced, the 18th annual WWE Tribute to the Troops will air on Fox on Sunday, December 6th, adjacent to Sunday's regional NFL broadcasts, with all the times, so I'm not going to read them out. The event will take place in the WWE Thunderdome and will have an audience comprised of military personnel and their families. The WWE revealed that a number of celebrity guests will be participating as well. Oh, is this how they're going to bring back Cain Velasquez then? Next up, the Bellas returning to WWE. Women's Tag Team Champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler have been dominant, so much so that the WWE recently tweeted, "Can anyone stop these two?" Sure enough, someone responded to the challenge, with the Bella Twins tweeting emojis of 2 women with their arms raised. Now, even though they're ready for a return, they need to be medically cleared first. Next up is WWE starting its own talent agency. It appears they're looking to exclusively book its superstars for all activities outside the WWE, including third-party platforms such as Twitch. According to WrestleTalk's Louis Dangoor, the WWE is advertising that it's looking to hire a new head of their talent brand managing department, with a job described as WWE Talent Management Group will deliver best-in-class 360-degree support of talent across all internal lines of business and key external partners, amplifying talent brand value and maximizing monetization opportunities for talent in WWE. Next up, WWE has quietly turned a Raw superstar Babyface. And did you know that Braun Strowman is a babyface again? Well, apparently that's the case, as the monster among men who recently turned heel following his swamp fight with Bray Wyatt at last summer's Extreme Rules event has turned again. PW Insider confirmed this recently, and Wrestling News' Paul Davis noted that this opens the door for Strowman to challenge Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. There's no word on why Vinnie Mac decided to turn Strowman yet again. Fans may not know it, but unlike most promotions where a wrestler turns from babyface to heel, or vice versa, with some sort of angle that develops the reason for their change of attitude. But sometimes the WWE has done this without any rhyme or reason, as one week they could be playing a heel, and then the next, a babyface. Next up, Rey Mysterio reveals when he plans to retire. Rey Mysterio recently signed a new deal with the WWE, which makes it likely that he'll finish up his career there. Rey discussed his future during an appearance on Lillian Garcia's Chasing Glory podcast, saying, "I'll be 45 in December, and I don't see myself going past 50, that's for sure. My body feels great right now. I've been doing new methods of therapy, stem cells, hyperbaric chambers, cryo chambers, CBDs, a lot of things that benefit me. I think that's given me more longevity." Rey's statement that his body feels great is puzzling considering how many reoccurring injuries he's had in the last decade. Mysterio has been wrestling since he was 14 years old, and his high-flying style and its impact on his body has clearly affected his ability to perform. While Rey's work is certainly still impressive, particularly at his age, there's no denying he's lost a few steps in the ring. Nevertheless, Rey is looking ahead to the day when he retires, and when Lillian asked him whether he wants to retire in the WWE, he answered, "Definitely yes. I want to retire in WWE. Once you enter here, you can't go any higher than this. This is where I've always envisioned myself finishing my career. I really haven't put thought into it who my retirement match will be against. There are a lot of choices though. Who do you think Rey should have his last match against? Should it be Dominic? Let us know in the comments down below." Next up, the original plans for WrestleMania. Now, the WWE had some huge plans for WrestleMania 36, but just like about everything this year, the pandemic caused some major changes. But according to an exclusive report by Ringside News, here are the matches that Paul Heyman proposed. Rusev and Liv Morgan vs Lashley and Lana, Brock Lesnar vs Drew McIntyre or Aleister Black vs Andrade if Black didn't face Lesnar, Undertaker vs AJ Styles or Seth Rollins, Randy Orton vs AJ Styles or Seth Rollins depending on who faced Taker, and a Raw Tag Team Championship match between the Street Profits vs Viking Raiders vs Gallows and Anderson. What do you think of these proposed matches? Would you have preferred this card? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, is WWE moving to a baseball stadium? Now, WWE has been running its Thunderdome shows in Orlando's Amway Center, but with the lease expiring in December, the promotion has to find a new home. During a recent Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed where the WWE might be moving to. I don't know where they're going. Believe it or not, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg has been talked about, which is a baseball stadium. I don't know how you run that every week. They'll have to run that twice a week. I mean, it's good that you're in Central Florida. Meltzer talked up the advantages of running the shows in Florida, saying, "I think everybody wants to run Florida because so many of the guys live there. It's cheaper. You're not going to get shut down. They start shutting things down all over the country. You're pretty confident Florida because the governor isn't going to shut anything down, but that's a big empty building. It's safer. I know there are all kinds of other indoor buildings they've talked to as well." Orlando sports journalist John Alba recently tweeted, "It's not impossible. WWE could run Tropicana Field. An idea Dave Meltzer discussed, and it would give the flexibility to run bigger events, but it's a downgrade in terms of facility quality, and the power has gone out multiple times during Rays games the last couple of years." According to Wrestling News' Andrew Ravens, the WWE is looking for a facility where they can leave the Thunderdome setting standing without having to dismantle it for other events. Naturally, this precludes the WWE from going to areas that run NBA and/or NHL games. But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.